some time ago, I have deleted my virtual machine for Graylog. So found myself in the situation that I have to reinstall it once more. And instead of CentOS 7 or 8, this time I decided to go with Ubuntu due to the fact that IBM actually wants to stop the support for CentOS, and they actually want to move to CentOS Stream, and CentOS Stream would be something much more like Fedora. So for this reason, I decided to go with Ubuntu, and I have multiple Debian machines like Debian 10 or Ubuntu 20.04. So from now on, I think I'm gonna go for Debian machines instead of CentOS or Red Hat because of this reason. And in this video, I'm gonna show you how I installed Graylog on Ubuntu 20.04 virtual machine. So to get started, here we will need to upgrade and update our distro. Here we will install Java and some other tools. By the way, these commands, you can also find them in the official documentation, and I will link the official documentation of Graylog in the description down below. Then we will have to download and install MongoDB. After MongoDB, we will do Elasticsearch. Okay, and Right now we will have to do Graylog, but over here I actually forgot to do an apt update, and we will do it a little bit later on. As you can see, I was getting an error. Okay, so right now we will configure the Elasticsearch. And here we were going to change the cluster name to Graylog, which is mandatory. And by the way, if you're running this into a production environment, make sure to change the path data for the path for the data and for logs. And at the very end, we will gonna add another line which says that no index will be auto-created. Then save the file and exit. And by the way, there is no need for a Mongo database configuration if we are having just a single server. Now we have to edit the Java heap size for Elasticsearch. In my case, I have 8 gigs of RAM, and here I'm going to go with 4 gigs. Please remember that in a production environment, you should have no more than 32 gigs for the heap size for Java, for Elasticsearch. And here I'm getting back to the issue for Graylog, and I'm doing the apt get update, and as you can see, Graylog is installed or will be installed. Okay, right now we will have to edit the Graylog configuration file, and here we will generate a secret password with the pwgen tool, which is 96 characters long. After that, we were gonna do the root sha with another command, which is which you'll find it also in the documentation. And the password that I'm choosing here, it's admin, as you can see. And the hash value, we will copy and paste it in the configuration file. Right now we will have to give it a time zone. I'm gonna keep the default one. Then we will set up the IP address where Graylog will listen. Okay. Now we will save and now we will have to do the Java heap size for Graylog, which is in a different location than the other one on CentOS or Red Hat. And here I'm gonna go with 2 gigabytes. You don't need more than 2 gigs of RAM for the Graylog heap size. Then we will start the Mongo database, Elasticsearch, and Graylog services. And naturally, after every start or restart for the service, we will also check the status to make sure that it's running, and you can see that it's loaded and active. Okay, and right now we will gonna do a test to make sure that we can get to the Graylog web console. Cool. So right now we see that everything works just fine. So the next step would be actually to enable HTTPS for our server, and therefore we will gonna stop the Graylog service. Okay, so we have to go again to the Graylog configuration file and start to edit the settings. And we will start the HTTP publish URI, which will have to be set to HTTPS and the IP address that we have decided to run our Graylog server on. And then naturally we will have to do the external URI. And as you can see, it needs to be HTTPS. We have to enable the TLS or set the HTTP enable TLS to true, the path for the certificate file, the path for the key file, and the password to decrypt the key file. Yeah, so we will have certs.cert.cr or .pem. We will gonna have the same for the key. And the certs folder is or directory is not yet created, and we will have to create it at a later point in time. And as you can see, it's not created, and here we will have to create the certs directory. Now in the search directory, we will create a symbolic link to our Java key store. And in this Java key store, we will actually have to import the certificate that we will use for Graylog. Okay, and here we can see our Java key store symbolic link. Now we will create a file that will help us generate our certificate for Graylog. And the only thing that I'm going to do here is that I'm going to modify the IP address. For the rest of the details, I really don't care. If you're running this into a production environment, make sure that everything you have there is in order. And I'm actually going to give it to 2 IPs because at some point in time I'm going to change the IP address of where Graylog will be able to listen to. Now that we have the file, it's time to generate the certificate and the key. And after this, we will have to convert the key file and encrypt it with the secret password. And here we will rename our encrypted key file to key.pem. And naturally, the Graylog service cannot start for some reason, because the private key which is in there, it's unreadable. So in this case, usually it's missing the permissions, and the permissions for the certificate file and the key file that we have in our search directory, they need to be changed to 444. And this is what we were gonna do right now. And here you can see the difference in permissions. So now we will restart the Graylog service and check the status. Everything should be fine. And even though we have it, we actually didn't import the certificate file to the Java key store, and therefore we cannot access the web interface console for Graylog. And we can also see that even though the service is running and listening on 9000 port, it will still not work without the certificate. So the next step would be to import the certificate into the Java key store. And except the import for the Java key store file, we will also have to specify in the Java for Graylog what is the path for the JKS file. So now we will have to simply save the file, and then we will import the certificate. Okay, so this is how we import it. We again need to change the path to the JKS file. It will ask us if we are trusting the certificate, and we type yes. And then we need to do a quick verification to see if the certificate was imported. And it was. Right now we will try to restart the Graylog service and access it from the web interface. And there is something which I have discovered with Microsoft Edge and self-signed certificates, is that then they don't work that well, and therefore I will start Firefox to test it. And as you can see, it will work just fine with Firefox. So please make a mental note in case you will need it. Thanks for watching. Subscribe. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button if you like the video, and talk to you in the next one.